Welcome back to part 5 of building our minifigure scale Grogu, but absolutely massive. To be precise, 216 times bigger. In the last episode, we took a look through all the bricks we've done so far, and since then, there have been some changes. Taking a look at the very first brick that we made, this snot brick here, which is no longer hollow in all 4 sides because we have added an axle in the middle supporting a 2x2 round brick to hold on the biggest giant Lego bricks we have built on this channel. In the stream, the upgrade I made was to put a 1x2 modified brick with a little axle hole in it, but I'm now realizing that this isn't a legal technique. The axle is to the top of the brick and slowly starts to separate all of the other layers, which you can see just to the side. Thankfully for me, it's an easy fix. By simply removing those snot bricks, we can have the axle floating through. And because we have that hole initially, it's like putting a custom length bar through the entire snot brick. I'd still love to see Lego making some shorter bars, maybe not 1 length, but maybe 2 length bars without that middle piece would be quite nice. And now we can press down the entire brick, and this is for a support later on. For the 1x1 plate and the 1x2 jumper, awesome brick, there are no changes, so they're the exact same as last week. This 1x2 slope element has been modified since I last shown it off, but whilst we're not working on this slope just yet, it's only the 1x4 that's been added on the inside to match the same style we've got for the other connectors. The 1x1 with the bar is another element that goes unchanged, but its connecting piece, the 1x1 with the clip, has had some 2x2 plates applied in place of the toles that once were, just to give some extra strength whilst it's connected to the bar. And these 1x1 corner tiles are also unchanged. The only other piece we had before this video was this 1x2 slope element, which I've gone back and made 2 exact replicas of. I'll be honest, I have no idea how I managed to scrape together the slopes for this, but I'm happy that I did because this is one of the hardest piece finds for this build, and that's just because we're building 3. R2-D2 is now showing some damage on my shelf, but thankfully that's all behind it. Quite literally, we removed the slopes from the back panel and a few from the back of the sides. Today's video is a massive update, quite literally, because we now have the biggest upscaled piece we have made to date, and not just one of them, but I went and built 2. Holding together the side of Grogu's pram are these giant 2x2 plates. Well, they're not giant. They're some of the smallest pieces, plate-wise, that Lego make, but they're the biggest elements in Grogu's pram, which is why I'm so excited to be putting them together this week. We've already got the slopes on top and the corner tiles at the bottom, so the only pieces we need to make now are these corner wedge slopes. Rather than like recently building these all on live streams, I'm going to keep working at this week, and there'll be the grand reveal of the entire build at some point in the next few weeks. I'm also going to be going back to my Grogu build, painting the head, which is the only 3D printed part of this entire build. But if you've got any ideas how we can go about building it, let me know in the comments. Grogu's torso is also taken very heavy inspiration from the Space Baby build, which a few of you have recommended in the comments. Thank you so much for that. It works wonders for Grogu. As the focus of this video is this 2x4 plate, I thought I'd show you how I built it and also how it differs but is so very similar to the 1x1 plate going inside the pram. You can probably notice right on the front that they're built kind of similar. We got the 2x2 tiles on each of the edges of this 1x1, and on the 2x2 we do have some 2x2 tiles, but I did quickly run out, so some of them have been replaced with a combination of 1x4 and 1x2 to give the same pattern over this side. The 1x1 underneath the stud does have all sides of this round 4x4 brick, which kind of is built using different pieces, but a 4x4 brick in red does work, and you can see we've got 2x2 tiles and 1x2 similar elements. Well, by removing a stud from the 2x2, which is a lot easier to do, we've got the same plate work down, and all I've done to bridge each of these individual 1x1 segments is used a 2x4 on one side and then built a few different tiles across the middle to secure the plates underneath. If you have watched this build on the stream, you'll know there is some secret plates hidden in between these white tiles and these plates on the bottom. We had to include another 4x4 plate. This is included in both of the builds. I've tried to make them as similar as I can, and given the parts I had, I think I've done a good job. But we've got this 4x4 plate in the middle, which I suppose could also, to represent the hull, have been some of these 2x2 corner rounded elements. But again, given part restrictions, we've gone with that plate. So there is some sort of reference to that hull. And then we've gone with 11 stud sides. So this is 12x12 in usual size Lego bricks. But to create the 11 overlaps at the corner, I've used a 1x3 and a 1x8. And again, that's present on both bricks. This stud up here is taken from the other side of the snot brick, and that's to show you exactly how the studs fit. So we've got one on the top corner, we'll have another one top right, and then another two along the bottom, and it's quite a nice fit with that middle plate. But now it's time to put the entire pram together. Again, we don't have all the pieces just yet, but we have enough for this to look really cool. We'll start by connecting the 2x2 plates, because this is the brand new piece and this element really brings the entire build together. These bricks are sturdy enough to hold each other, and that is why I went back to this 1x1 clip and added some plates, because I was worried about it falling, and the weight of the rest of the build, well, it just couldn't support it without that extra connection. But if you do want to risk it, it holds up as long as it's on your display. On top of this 2x2 plate right here, we've got, on the part that overhangs the snot brick, we've got that 1x1 corner tile, which really does not look bad with this 2x2 plate. This was my biggest worry of the entire build, but it does end up covering most of that corner. And then we're going to grab one of our slopes and place that just on top, leaving two spaces for two of those wedge tiles. In the middle, we've then got our 1x1 clip hanging over one side with the studs going towards the top. And this is going to be filling off this little 2x2 square right at the bottom, which is also nice because it ends up covering this clip. And on the other side, we've got our 1x2 giant modified slope. This gives us a great idea of what this wedge rounded slope is going to look like at the front, because it meets up to the slope at the front. On top of the main snot brick, literally holding this entire build together, very impressive, we're going to place our jumper tile with one brick off to the side. With the smaller model, we're unable to do this because jumper tiles aren't like tiles and can't just be placed millimeters off where they're meant to be. They usually have 3 different connectors. Hopefully Lego will change that one day and will give us a more varied piece. But until then, we're just going to have to improvise with this larger model. Here's a better look at how the actual minifigure scale one works. And you can see Grogu still fits in there fine. It just pushes back the headrest a little bit, which might not be perfect, but as long as it works, I'm not complaining. And for the back, we've got a 1x1 with that bar element clipping in place, another 1x2 slope just on top, and finally for Grogu's head, we've got our 1x1 plate, which acts as a really nice cushion. And then again, we're back to another 2x2, a 1x1 corner tile, and the third and final 1x2 rounded off slope. And we can't forget to put Grogu in the middle. So here we have our pram so far, and this is just an idea at the scale of future builds, because Grogu isn't going to be our last. Here's the minifigure scale pram, and here is the massive 6 times bigger in every dimension. This is a 1:6 scale, so the minifigure scale is 1/6 of this entire build. But because we're working in 3 dimensions, that makes this volumetrically 216 times bigger, which adds up to the scale of our Captain Rex. As you can see, both of these are pretty big compared to your average minifigure, and we're only going to get bigger from here. Rex was our first minifigure. Grogu then takes it to a next level with a Lego-based build, and perhaps we could even try building something complex like an astromech. Over on the streams where we've been building Grogu, I've been asked to build a spider droid, which might be the next one. And coming up to the B1's release, I think building a battle droid using actual Lego bricks would be a great idea, as opposed to just simply 3D printing it, because that's cheating. But if you've got any ways that you think I could go about building Grogu's buggy better, we've already sorted this front slope and we can get it nice and smooth. using a few different snot techniques. Please let me know down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this series. It's coming to an end, but there'll be plenty more upscale builds when this one's done. And until next time, may the bricks be with you, always.